Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Alisha Brashay here at Cosmic Gateway. So excited, as always. Another roundtable. I have the wonderful crew. I have Nick, I have Dale, and Donovan. Welcome back, guys. Thank you. So much is happening that I almost feel like we need to pull these roundtables every couple of days just to, get through the latest updates of everything that's happening energetically, politically, and everything else wise. But thank you everyone for watching, and thank you so much for everyone and the amazing feedback that the emails and the messages and everything that people send, and they love to see the four of us. So bring everyone back together. Today is Saturday the 10th, so it's 10:10, and of course we're in October, or as some people like to call Red October, and October certainly hasn't disappointed at this at this stage, and I think it's only going to get even more wild.
I need your consent on a few items to continue.
Sorry, my phone just randomly wants to talk. Let's take that as a confirmation. But I think to start off, Donovan, I know that you did a bit of a live the other day talking about the 1010 gateway and the energies and what that means to you, breaking down the number wise. So can I pass it to you to get going?
Sure. Yeah, so what has been coming pretty strong, and thank you, and so great to be here with you, my beautiful brothers again. And yeah, it's been such a powerful time coming into this 1010 portal, as we'll call it. So many people had been receiving synchronicities, and because I hear from people all around the world what codes they're getting, it had started a while back with one of your friends, Alisha. Anna had contacted me about getting the 1010 code.
Yes.
We had a big chat about it, and as usual, I just in that moment tapped into it, and just all this stuff came, and I couldn't believe it. So the number 1010 is really connected to 2020, right? Because you got the 1 and the 0, the 1 and the 0. Then you got the 2 and the 0, the 2 and the 0. There's this perfect balancing about it. And 2 being the number of balance in 2020. And then 1 and 0, you've got the divine masculine, divine feminine balancing of energies, which we know is happening on a collective level at the moment. But then all this other stuff had come to me about the fact that you see the 1s and 0s, and what does it make you think of when you think of the movie The Matrix, right? The binary code. And the energetic, I guess, grid pattern that we've been existing under. And then if you're going from 1010 to 2020, it's like we're moving into that crystalline grid, and it's coming in strong, especially now at the 1010 point, where we know we're at a tipping point. And this week has just shown, and I'm sure Dale and Nick will both agree, that the ridiculousness of the speeding up of things changing and the balancing of light and dark has just hit this, it's like we're going to come to that midpoint. Like, we know the election's coming and all that, right? But it's like culminating. It's culminating, and you can feel the balance. I was saying I could feel the energy. It was yesterday or whatever when I was talking about the 1010. I can feel this balanced energy in me and out there. And it's like everything about the ascension process. It's both within and without, and both reflect each other. So the 1010 for me is this very much the light is the number 1, and the 0 point is source, God, the all, the cosmos, the universe, and feeling that perfect connection that, yeah, I'm here, I'm a vessel for all that is, while I'm also uniquely, individually me as a fractal of all that is. And then feeling the balance of being connected to both in a more permanent state. So 1010 for me is about having an experience, and the souls that have been contacting me that get the 1010 code, they're souls that are like, they're awakening on such a high level. Not that there's any hierarchy, but they're souls that have a really deep understanding of things. They just have knowings. That there's that, we talk about old soul, factor. They're really old souls that have been on this planet through however many civilizations, and they're having memories after memories about past lives and experiences and knowings about what's going to happen and what's coming. And most of these souls that are getting the 1010 code are actually really, like me, really excited about where humanity's going and where the planet's moving through this new crystalline grid that's now in place and connects us as humans to our multi-dimensional state of being. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel with 1010.
Oh, thank you for, I don't know if you saw my face, but I'm like, yes, yes. It's like, I've been picking up a lot of that, but I know that the 1010, because Anna, and hi Anna, shout out to her. She had been saying to me for a while, and I want to share this because it's like we activate codes within each other, as you well talk about a lot, Donovan. But she brought to me, she goes, have you noticed that every time you look at, you cannot miss 1010 on the clock, day and night, and this has been going on for months. And as soon as she brought it into my awareness, of course, I've been getting 1010 codes for months, and so we were like, ooh, October, you know. And I've sort of likened it to two things. I see it as like an opening portal to a lot of balancing of masculine feminine energy, massive. I know that going beyond this round table, I got the message that as you guys know, to extend the round table, and it's to bring in male and female. And I was like, oh, we get beyond 1010, and then it's bringing those energies in and joining it, which is exciting. But also for me, it's been a lot around like this lifting of the veil of the illusion and seeing the truth, seeing the clarity, like a real activation within the third eye pineal gland. And I had an experience sometime in the week where I felt this pressure coming to around here, around my third eye. It was actually while I was recording, the last recording I did, and it was epic. And then when I went to bed, I had this like explosion, sort of very similar to what I went through when I had the Kundalini awakening. But to me, it looked like lightning that was like coming in and then just going through my body. So it's a real sort of, like you were talking about, people coming into new awarenesses. And that was kind of my experience. It was pretty wild. So thank you.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna move over to this side now because I want to check in with Nick and Dale and see how you guys are and what your experience has been, what your week's been like. Or what do you feel that the 1010 energies represent?
You can go. Yeah. I can go. Well, I mean, everything Donovan said seems really relevant to myself, and I'm imagining everyone else at the moment. And I really do hope there's a balancing coming, because I'm ready to get off the ride for a little bit. Because I mean, I've had a pretty wild week, as Alisha well knows. Certain things happening. I mean, I could touch on it if you wanted, Alisha. Is that?
If you want to, yeah.
Yeah. Look,
don't make me cry though. You
no,
already made me cry once this week.
I mean, I can do it in a general sense, because there's certain nuances about the story that have the potential to affect other people who aren't necessarily in the same space that we are. But I had on Sunday morning, actually, it's funny we talk about, I had someone contact me who said they'd seen me in a meditation, and they said that I was watching over them, and that I had a beating heart over the top of my head, and to her that represented that I was coming from I'm operating from my heart, which is what I'm increasingly trying to do consciously, or that someone who loved me very much was watching over me and influencing things. So a little bit later on that, actually, I've got to go back a little bit as well. I woke up that morning and I just had this, because I've been very misaligned with all the chaos going on and things like that, and just trying to get back to a more level state. And I woke up that morning and I just felt, I felt like I was in flow. I was grounded. I felt like I haven't felt in a long time. It felt like I'd sort of, gotten somewhere. And then later on that afternoon, I got a message from a woman I know who's a channeler, and I've had her, she channeled me the first time I'd ever had it done. And it's what woke me up to the possibilities of that sort of stuff, because she was terrifyingly accurate, and helped me to understand myself a lot better. So I trusted her, and she said she'd been compelled to give away some free readings, and there was 5 of them. 2 of us were priority, and so she wanted to do it. So I said yes, and she did it, and she came back to me, and she had a little bit of info, and she said to me, look, there's something they want to get to you, but it's very, there's something blocking it. She suggested it might be at a subconscious level, and me thinking with my rational mind, I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And I said, look, I'll go away and meditate on it and have a think about it. And then I can't even remember how, off the top of my head, because I've written a bit of a document about it just to remember, and so I could share it with Alisha. But we ended up getting to the stage where I said to her, look, I definitely want to push through, and being ethical, she then had my permission and said, look, I'll try and do it. And she actually had she said there was quite a large group of guides and things like that. But there was one person or one being that was particularly prominent, and a family, let's just say it was a family member that I didn't know well in the 3D, with very little memory of. But they were extraordinarily eager to speak and get this message, and they had nagged her for the entire day before I actually ended up getting this reading through. And the message was that I'm looked after. She actually spoke about you guys, believe it or not, and said that you're very supported by, and it was pretty clear who she was talking about. I got told that I have more family behind me than I do here. So there's large, obviously, yeah. And the person that came to her, she was wearing white, with a white veil over her head, and all the other members in the group were wearing white. And she indicated after me to look up, read up on Palladians, which I feel like I almost know everything now, but at that point I didn't know much. And so it's really hard to give detail on just how emotional and intense this whole thing was, even now. But it's hard to describe it, because I am limited at the moment in the detail I can give. But this was it's an experience where I'll never ever be the same again, and in a good way. But it's left me, I have this energy going on at the moment that I've not had before. Yeah, and it's just, I don't feel like I'm actually explaining it very well, because like I said, I have to be very...
I'm feeling it though, Nick.
Yeah. So, but yeah, literally an out of this world experience. And without getting, you interviewed Kathy the day after, and that was a really, I'm sorry for anyone else who watched it, but that interview was for me.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, and it was pre-recorded from when I'd contacted Alisha to explain to her what happened and all of that. So
I think I had recorded the night before, and then you contacted me and I was like, you got to watch.
Yeah, so I've had to be, I'm very conscious of, she actually used the word spiritual ego in there. Mm-hmm. In that interview, and I think that's really relevant, because one of the details I was given was that this person was a starseed just like me. So I was basically given this new level of information that could easily, make you start with this grandiose view of yourself. and, start behaving like a god or something, But yeah, it's just been a very, very hectic, transformative week. Yeah.
I think you said it perfectly when you said your life will never be the same again.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think that's a beautiful, I refer to it, I call it the holy shit moment.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. That's my technical term for going.
Yeah. Because I mean, through meditation and things like that, I thought I was going down a very different path. And that literally sent me, down one that I never thought would have been the one. So
yeah. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Nick. And I think it's maybe really important, because I know that when that video went out, how prevalent and important what you just shared in that topic is with people connecting with loved ones who have passed over, whether they had a strong bond with them or not, and then seeing them as a guide and the love and support and the connection that's there. So
yeah, well, and there's definitely nuances around it in that, like it explained a lot of things throughout my past, and including my feeling of a very close connection with someone that I didn't really know in certainly in this life. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you, Nick. Thank you. That's I'm very excited to see what unfolds and unravels from that, and the next time we connect, and what you want to share. So the journey has just begun, my friend.
My hand, as soon as you said Pleiadians, my hands are shaking. Hey?
Yeah.
I saw the look on your face.
But it's funny. It makes perfect sense. Like all the research I've been doing. I mean, that night I didn't go to bed until 3 a.m. and I'm not a night owl at all. And everything just, it's like, I get it. I get why, there's certain things where I get why I felt the way I do, and why I think the way I do, and why I have when I was a kid, and why you didn't, you don't fit in. I mean, and I'm sure everyone knows what that's like, particularly here. So, and there's probably plenty of people that are going to watch it. There's a reason why you don't quite fit in.
What's that quote? If you're born into a world that you don't fit in, it's because you're here to create a new one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what we're here to do.
Yay.
Cheers, Nick.
We were saying the last time we spoke too about the Blue Mountains being the Seven Sisters as well. So I was like, what?
Well, you know what? And I saw that Seven Sisters thing coming up everywhere for like the last couple of weeks. And then as soon as I'd read that somewhere and the connection, yet again, like, it's just everywhere. Yeah. The timing is impeccable. And I mean, it's funny because this all came out and sort of climaxed on the night of my 38th birthday, which was interesting. Yeah. So, or as I like to call it, my 33rd birthday. Like that? That's a dad joke right there.
Yeah, it's a really good dad joke. Oh, phenomenal. Well, I'm going to go around the table now. And Dale, how's your week been? What's been happening?
I just listen to you guys too. It's just everyone's got having different experiences, but all like, it's like a harmonic sort of convergence, isn't it? And that's why I love the what we've come together. It's big. I don't think we even need to do anything. It's something just about just bringing the energies together, isn't it? It's crazy. But yeah, like this week it's been, me and Alisha did, I told Alisha, like, since she sort of came into my life, that like things have just gone mental. So
I apologized.
But yeah, we did, like, we had a chat. We did a recording, didn't we, last week?
Yeah.
And it was, a lot of people picked up there was a changing energy around that time too. And we're talking about some pretty heavy topics. And I mean, I can't be 100% sure, but I felt some sort of energy attack or something that really didn't want us to be talking about it, didn't want us to be going there. And something about us, our two, I mean, me on 3D level, but something about our higher selves connecting, and there's some sort of power there I don't quite understand, but they really don't like it. Some of these, as we're going into a balance, I felt it anyway. And after that, it was a it was a tough week, really.
We should do a behind the scenes. What happens when you... It was a bit rough.
Like me and Alisha, I need a bit of counselling this week.
Yeah, it looks like this, you know.
But the dreams after, now I haven't been really remembering a lot of my dreams lately, and now they're coming to me now as well. And Donovan, you just, before we started recording, you just pulled a bloody volcano card, and then you just said something about an explosion, Alisha, right? Yeah. Now maybe you can explain the symbolism of that, but I've been having some dreams. Lots of different ones. You were actually in one too, Donovan. And it's almost the same sort of thing, but the one I was in Bali, and I was going over into the volcano and then out and looking and waiting for the explosion. And then I was trying to cancel others that were picking up that this was going to happen. So, but anyway, yeah, it's I feel really good today. There was a big something happened today, shift, and we had this week we had this crazy storm, and the whole power went out in all of the town. So normally it's just like little grids of suburbs, and this was like the whole city, right? Everything was out. I was calling everyone different areas. So you out, everyone was out, and then as soon as the power went out, boom. And this massive rain started coming. So there wasn't no storm really that much before. And it was, to me, it was a physical manifestation of this cleansing. It had been a shit week, but not shit, but just there was the energy to me was like a fighting. They were like to and fro, right? And then this big cleanse came through. We had the water, and then today it's absolutely beautiful. I feel calm. Just feel So.
Sorry to interrupt, Dale, but
mate.
I had posted up because I love to watch the weather, as we all do, right? And I noticed that the rain that came to Victoria and New South Wales and ACT had come from Central Australia. That weather system that moved through came from literally, you know where.
Yeah.
And I found that fascinating.
It makes me think too a lot about the weather manipulation too. Now I've been following the chemtrails for years, and this year's been very interesting because we were getting hammered at the bushfire season. They were just nuts, and then it really dropped off when the COVID thing started. There was no chemtrails for quite a while. Then about a month ago they kicked back up again. Now I don't know who's in charge of these chemtrails, what they're spraying. Now there could be good forces of doing it as well, because it can be done to create rain.
Right.
And are they trying to manipulate a cleansing or help guide a cleansing? I don't know. But that's interesting that it would come from there, because our weather system comes from Adelaide, usually. Yeah.
Do you
have any thoughts on that, Donovan?
Yeah, sorry, my internet just it's cutting in and out, so I'm missing little bits. But I noticed the same thing with chemtrails, and just recently a few starting up again. And I was like, curious, absolutely curious, because honestly, when it comes to chemtrails, because I've been studying it since way back when, I'm at the point where I'm like, I still don't know about whether there's more to it that's actually not a bad thing. I just a little bit of what you said, but then what we know about as far as we're concerned, it's to ruin the soil, to control the crops, to all that. So,
and it is used for that military transferring information as well too. So there's that aspect to it,
Yeah.
What do you think?
My fondest memory of chemtrails was going through a time when I was really, really vulnerable and going through a really epic sort of purge, as we like to call them. And I couldn't work out what was happening. I was literally in the fetal position for like, and I felt like my whole nervous system was like malfunctioning. And then someone brought my attention. I went outside and there was just chemtrails all over top of my house. And I was like, this has got to be related. And so I did a bit of research, and what I sort of stumbled across was how it affects the nervous system. And I was like, oh. But I mean, having said that, that was a long time ago, and I'm sure there's been many, many other occurrences since, but I was in a very vulnerable state at that time. And so in a lower vibration. So I guess my point is, I think that whether it's positive, negative, however, I think that we can also, what we can have control over is our own vibration, and we can do clearing or whatever, is in resonance and align with you to help not be affected in a negative way.
Absolutely. Because you know what, on that, it's so easy to get, because I've realized a few things over the last week that I get caught up in these things. And I think I said last time, unlike Dale, I couldn't cover this stuff and not just get anxious and just be a horrible creature. So like you say, like I think just with this stuff, even though we're talking about it, you can't get down about it. You've still got to keep your vessel, do all the things that you can do. Because I mean, we got 5G towers, just up the road and things like that. And if control what we can control, and I mean, we're pretty powerful, so we probably can have some control over it anyway.
Yeah, at least our energy in our environment.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting when I was looking into chemtrails and talking to people at one stage, it leads you to looking at the periodic table. And now that's a table of numbers, of course.
Yeah.
Well, it is. And so every element has a number attached to it. And, I remember going down this rabbit hole where I nearly went insane, like literally. But when you're looking at barium, strontium, and whatever they're supposed to be putting in the atmosphere, and the energetic blueprint frequency that each element has and how that can interact. I remember seeing, I forget which element it is now, but it's one of what are they called? Super gases? Dale, you might know. That escapes me now, but anyway, at the time I had this synchronicity with it's called Cryon.
Yeah, Cryon.
Yeah.
Right. And at that time I was listening to the channelings from Cryon.
Yeah.
And I was just getting all the number codes. It was just bizarre to me. But I understand what you're saying. Like what I started to feel, because I got really angry when I first heard about chemtrails. I got so angry because I was organic veggie patching at the time. I had my own chickens, and we were organic free range eggs and all that. And then you find out about this stuff that's coming down on top of you into the soil, into your body. So I went through that anger stage, and then I had this meditation and I went, hang on, but everything can be used on an energetic level. So what that actually can do is I can use these elements to actually amplify vibrationally. If we can't get away from this stuff, well, let's use it and amplify. And I had meditations where I was using the metals that they're putting in these chemtrails and started using them to amplify the vibration of what I was emanating through my heart and through, and I had these experiences where it's like a radar, all these particles connect, like you were saying, military communications, right? The worst thing that the thing they're most scared about us doing is that waking up to the power that we've got. If they can use it for HARP technologies and they can use it for weather control, well, we know about the electromagnetic field of the heart. Well, then our energy can use that and we can transmute that and use it back at them, so to speak. You know what I mean? So
I do remember the barium and aluminium was BA. It's BAL, BAAL. Yeah.
Oh.
It's also on point. Do you know what about today's date too? This just came up because I don't know if you know, like Alana Friedman, because they were part of this AI plan was to spray. They were creating this sub-reality, and she called it like the space fence, right? And this is part of this grid with Skylink and stuff where they're putting all these satellites on. They're supposed to go functional this month. Now, you know, a lot of people have reported that when there's always been upgrades in technologies, when these viruses supposedly, you know, appear. And so this hasn't happened yet, which is interesting, isn't it? So who knows? And you know, this is, I'd like to bring this up is, I think why things are so hard to see what's going on at the moment is, I was talking to Alisha about this timeline, these merging timelines. And you can, if you want to see the Cabal's agenda playing out, the complete New World Order, you're going to see that. It is there. And I'm getting people sending me stuff. Oh my God, I'm like, I'm sort of not tuning into that anymore. I'm not. And then coming from the other side, whereas like, everything's going to be fine. And I don't like either. But you can see both happening as well. And this is like I was talking about going into the merging point, but you can pick up whatever reality you want now. And it's like the creator is showing us, these are your choices. This is what's going to happen, and make your choice. But I think the time, you going?
No, keep going. I'll remember.
And look, being someone that can studied mostly conspiracies, you can see the timeline wars playing out just by following geopolitics. Like for the last 10 years, I've been following these plans. Like I saw the plan of what they were wanting to do, and it was getting stopped. And not just this year. This has been happening for a long time. And like an example I said was like 9/11. They had this group called PNAG, and Wesley Clark, General Wesley Clark, said they were going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. That was on paper. That was their plan, and it's written in other documents. They haven't even taken out them now. And then all these. Now, I said at the start of the year to my sister-in-law, getting really worried about these vaccines. This was before COVID, because they were pushing this. You know, you've got to vaccinate your kids, and we're going to bring in new laws. And I said, there has to be divine intervention now. Has to be. Because I'm looking around town and I'm not seeing... I believe in the people taking it down. I truly believe that. But I couldn't see it happening with the level of manipulation we've been through. And that this has been... It's been taken down from the inside in a lot of ways. Yeah. But we're doing it as well. But I felt that it had to be taken down from the inside.
Yeah, and as it ramps up, it exposes, and you get to see more and more people wake up, and then more people create action or movement to, you know, diffuse or disintegrate the matrix system. But it's so many things that I wanted to jump in. I didn't want to.
You can feel yourself jump between the timelines.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll go here, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You can feel it in information that you watch, read, hear, see. And I'm going to give an example. I had an incident yesterday, which I can laugh at myself now, but I saw how quickly I spiraled into old patterning and fear. And it was around safety and finances. And that's a big one, right? And that's probably a big one that's hitting people a lot. And it's been a huge part of my journey. I don't know what poverty vows of poverty consciousness I decided to come in and break apart this lifetime. But I tell you what, it's not fun. And it's not so much the physical circumstance, it's the energy that runs through me that's extreme. And I had this thing pop up. I won't go into specific details, but it was like one of my accounts had been like put a temporary ban on. So it means I wouldn't have been able to access money. And I went into a meltdown. I recognized that was an old energy, an old timeline playing out. And I had the opportunity to dissolve it within myself in that moment. And I was like, I don't have to sit in this. I can make a choice right now, and I don't have to sit in this. So I was on the phone to my friend. Thank you, Anna, by the way. Another shout out to Anna. I was on the phone to Anna, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to go shower. I'm going to clear this mofo. I jump in the shower and I did this process of like feeling it into my body and like literally pulling it out and like exploding it and whatever. You don't need to know the details, but it's an energy technique that I was guided to do. I stepped out of the shower, I looked at my phone and I had an email saying it had been corrected. And I was like, damn, that was quick. So, I just wanted to share that because that's the ability that we have to shift and change our reality. We don't have to sit in it unnecessarily, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It's funny because you talk about money and how quick it turns around. So, I mean, we're reasonably tight with funds. We're not well off or anything, often living week to week. And when how I said that I've sort of feel like I've sort of raised up a bit, I literally, as soon as the clock, so all that stuff happened on Sunday night, on my birthday night. As soon as the clock hit 12, $3,000 dropped into my account. I know it sounds like I make it up. I might have to produce bank statements, but and then my wife suddenly had money that we didn't realize was coming in, and I'm talking thousands. So it's and I keep saying to her, she keeps going, no, there's got to be something wrong here, and I'm like, no, there's not. Just go with it, because I can feel my personal shift may be contributing to 100%. That. Yeah.
100%. And economics and money being a form of energy, right? I think about the moment, right? So there's one timeline reality that says the central banks are going down, a quantum financial system's coming in. Some of us have talked about Nasara, Jisara. I don't know if that's true or not, but we know there's a massive shift happening. And I think about there are people living in a timeline right now on the planet that will believe that we're in a recession, that there's no jobs, that everything's going to shit, that and then there's these other people living in a timeline like myself, where I'm so excited because I see this huge explosion of abundance coming, and I'm choosing to live in that timeline. And I kind of look back at what state they're in, and I think you can choose. Who said it earlier? You can choose whatever timeline what Dale you're saying. Choose whatever timeline you want to be in, and then it will get reflected back to you. Like you said, Nick, I had the first pay coming in from the new job, and at first in one timeline they said, oh yeah, the first pay you're going to get like 3 days pay only, and I was like, shit. And I went into a bit of fear, and I'm like, I can't pay my rent, I've got my phone bill. And I went, stop, what are you doing? Like Alisha, I went, go and get by a tree and meditate. Look what you're doing to yourself. This is an old pattern, don't do it. Poverty vows, whatever. And I just breathed into it. And then something shifted, and the first pay that came through was the 3 days plus the full fortnight. It came in, it was close to $3,000, and I went, oh my God, this is the most pay I've ever had. And same experience, because I shifted it and went, I'm not going to choose that. That's crap. That's an old pattern, and it's an old energy that is no longer in me. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
That's interesting that there's 3 different stories. So how much of Dale's got riches about to pour through the door? Is he just going to come in behind you? But yeah, it's interesting that there's 3 of us. Yeah,
I'm feeling a shift in me as well too, and it's mine is I don't want to participate in certain things anymore. I've been pulled in another path. I spoke to Alisha about possibly changing location, that too, and I don't know, but like I have no plans for the future. I'm just gonna roll with the breeze and see what happens. But I think that's the best way to go. But I feel like things that aren't gonna be required for me aren't gonna be there anymore, and that's collectively as well. So things that aren't serving the planet, if we're to go through this change, they have to be rid of. They have to be gone. And we're at the spearhead at the moment, I think.
I don't know why that makes me smile when you said that. I was like,
So is this something that's evolved over the last week for you, Dale?
It's been
like you say.
Yeah, but no, look, it's been throughout the year too. I've known like this. I need to make changes in my own health. but it's, you know, it's as above, so below, isn't it? So we've got to, but I think, you know, if I don't make those choices, they'll be made for me anyway. And, but you got to lose this. People are holding on to the old world. Yeah. And these things are they're going to be taken away from you, and they're going to be taken away harshly. And if you're not in tune to that, it's going to hurt a lot. I mean, it's going to hurt anyway. And this can be friends, money, houses, the way you look at things in the world, the way you look at politics, the way you look at celebrities, idol worship, religion, everything. It needs to be broken down. But we can't build towards the future with holding on to this old consciousness that is still plaguing people. So we haven't seen this crushing moment yet too, but it's going to be very tough. And I don't think it's not going to be la-di-da, it's good tomorrow. This is a period of even decades that things are going to be built. And the children that are born now, these are powerful beings coming through now.
See, I don't even think that that we know, like we talk about what systems and people theorizing what's coming. I actually don't think we know, because we're coming from this certain level of consciousness and we're not going to be here. So it's going to be something totally different to what we can even probably conceive at the moment, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thing is just, I always hold on to, like, you don't give your power away to no one. And it's not like, oh, la-di-da, like everything's going to be fine tomorrow and there's no evil in the world. That's not how I look at it anyway. And it's, you continue to not give your power away to anyone. And because you have the knowledge within. So I think worship is going to be a real big one too. If things are broken down, I think the belief systems are the biggest, and religion. And I don't even want to see like any, you know, there probably is going to be religious structures as well. But to me, my truth's within me.
Yeah, that's what I think. I feel like sovereignty is the big theme. And you can see it now. Like, you look everywhere, it's all about sovereignty. And, you know, even in relation to the virus and the fines and things like that, it's all about sovereignty and taking your power back.
Yeah. And that's what, like, people have asked, you know, what can people still going, what can I do? What can I do? The agenda has been subhuman. You just counteract that with being human. That's it. It's like this is this evil. It doesn't want you to be human. Well, look at all the stuff that they're telling us not to do. Don't go to the beach. Don't be with your family. Are you kidding me? The sickest ones I've seen is disgusting. Is like the funerals. That's what gets me the most. Because when you die, you need to be with your family. That's it. And people need to get together to grieve. Now, if they're telling you to do that, what's the opposite? Be human. Come together. Go outside. It doesn't need to be like, let's go crazy, save the world, take down the system. Just be human.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting away with that though, because I mean, what's the worst they can do to you anyway? From where I see it, death is, I mean, we've been, the first bit of conditioning we probably ever got was the fear of death. Because ultimately we can't get away from that. If you can create that fear, it's something we can't get away from. It's a really good base level thing. So
yeah, and it makes as soon as you drop the fear of death, you become invincible.
Yeah,
literally, you become
absolutely.
Invincible. It's like the ultimate fear to overcome, you know.
Yeah.
Because once you're fully integrated and embraced in being human and just experiencing the most out of what you're here for, like there's no control. You cannot be controlled. You know, like no one can make you feel anything.
Yeah. Have you ever seen, I think Alisha, like my YouTube channel, I've just got a picture. It's my favorite picture in the world. And it's the Palestinian guy throwing a rock, right? And it's at the March to Return. Now people go, oh, you're an anti-Semite, blah, blah. No, it's like, to me, that doesn't need to be a Palestinian. There was a crazy amount of synchronicities that led to that picture. I've actually got it hanging in my house. I've got a friend drew it for me. But that I love that picture because this man does not fear death at all. That is pure courage, that picture. That's how I see it anyway. And I was just having this conversation with my mum this morning about death. And I said, I do not fear death at all. I don't. That's why, yeah, it's just a lovely picture, that.
Yeah.
But that's the courage that I think that's rising too. It's like, it's beautiful.
It sure is. And I think it's when you're faced, I mean, it comes in all different ways. And I've had sometimes I say I've had near-death experiences. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that I saw the light and the tunnel in the stereotypical way, but I had my brushes with death a couple of times. And two things happened in that experience. That A, I became invincible, but there was an energetic kind of alchemical process that happened in my body that almost felt like my DNA switched on and I got activated to a higher degree. It was like a big initiation. And I feel like that's what the collective are going through
Rebirth.
the C word and everything else that's going on, is a big initiation. And it's an opportunity, it's a choice to face it, whatever fear it is, but fear of death. And I called it from like before it became, I think it was back in January, and I was talking about it on an energy update, and I was like, oh, isn't it interesting that this virus thing is a collective initiation to allow people to work through their fears of immortality and financial issues and health and whatever. I saw that straight away, and not for 1 second did I think that it was going to go this long. I thought it would just be, in and out. But I think the prolonging of it and as it unravels, and it's because it has that higher purpose. And as we're talking about the higher and lower timelines, if you're on that higher timeline, you can see the purpose in it all, that it's really helping people go through their initiations, go through facing their fears right in the eye, and being able to disintegrate that. And then, through that process, go through that alchemical and energetic process of switching on their DNA, becoming sovereign, whatever word you want to put it, stepping into the highest aspect of themselves. And then, like you were saying, Dale, just allowing the universe to take you where you need to be, because there's no point in fighting it. When you fight it, that's when I say you get bitch slapped by the universe, and it's not pleasant. So yeah.
So interesting too, Alisha, and my internet just cut out a little bit. I might have missed something, but the other thing that came with 1010, just coming back around to that, was I saw the 10 as the DNA switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off, right? And I'm sure you guys have probably heard a bit of Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, right, about the messages that in the body that switch on or off, that like you're predisposed, whatever your predisposition to an illness or whatever is on a genetic level, so epigenetics above the gene, determines on the environment. And the environment that the gene is in the body, right? So you control the environment of the body with your thoughts, your feelings, your words, your actions, whatever. So it will determine what's switching on and what's switching off. So if you've got a predisposition to breast cancer, right, it doesn't mean you're going to get breast cancer. If you create the right environment within you, you can determine whether that DNA switches on, genetics switches on or off. So that was another thing that was given to me about the 10 code, that it's like the on and off switch of DNA and genetics, that just occurred to me. And then you were talking about immortality and, we're talking about getting, releasing the fear of death. The number 17 is known as the number of immortality, right? And the reason is you've got that 7 spiritual connection, right, with the 1 heaven to earth, connecting heaven and earth, and Q standing for quantum, so the 17th letter of the alphabet. So it all comes together beautifully in number codes. But yeah, the 10 genetics switching on and off. We have the power to control. We're not victims, is the point. And as we wake up to this, we can alchemically, like you said, we can start working with the body, and we can do anything with it, you know. Amazing.
Speaking of immortality, mortality, and I may have messed that up before in my flow, but I think my perception anyway is going through the ascension process, we're taking our bodies with us. So we're literally going through a death and rebirth, just not crossing through we're not losing our body through this process. That's my understanding. Has anyone else noticed all the different references to Osiris and Isis lately? Just saying, like, I've had so many synchronicities about, like, obviously the version of the story I know about, you know, Isis and Osiris, but Osiris being, you know, chopped up and then, you know, being put back together and reaching a level of ascension and immortality, and then from that they created the sacred mystery schools of Egypt and taught how people could do that without being chopped up, you know, brutally. And I don't know, I've been seeing so many signs around that, so I just thought I'd throw that to you guys. Maybe that's another thing.
What do you think, Nick? You should probably answer that.
I love that metaphor, chopping up and putting them back together. But I get what you're getting at. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like that, and that's deep because Dale shared a video too. It was Dale shared a video.
Chris J.
That's it. Yeah, and I actually watched it, and I found that theory really fascinating. What he was saying, he was talking about Trump and Melania simply embodying the energy of Osiris and Isis at this time. And I mean it's quite a plausible theory, especially given Trump's history and his imperfections and things like that.
Yeah, it's I'm just looking at what's happening. It's mental. Sorry.
Did your mind just go where I went when Nick said that? Because, you know, we've been joking around and talking about, like, the Simpsons and how the Simpsons predict, and talking about Trump and a possible, you know, death or fake death. And then all I saw was that image of the Simpsons of Trump in the coffin, and I was like, oh, that's the story. Is that gonna, if they're embodying that frequency, is that hey, I don't want to put it out there, but is it a possibility?
You know, I've thought about that. I'd like to know what you think, Donovan, but it does match this death and rebirth as well. And also ties into the 21st with, like, astrotheology, where you got the death of the sun on the solstice as well, right? And the return on that. I feel like Christmas is a significant day this year too. But I'd like to know what you think, Donovan.
I don't know why this is coming, but this leads, like Isis and Osiris, right? Thinking about these masculine, feminine figures throughout ancient history. I know quite a few people that have been going through an experience where they feel they're Adam or they feel they're Eve, right? And then looking at Trump and Melania, you know, again, connecting these masculine, feminine energies of, like, playing a role at this time that we've done many times when there's been a massive shift in human consciousness. And I can't tell you, numerous couples, by the way, on what they would call a twin flame journey, others not so much, just having these powerful experiences that they feel that they are, that they, like, one was like Eve, and she felt like, I have to apologize to humanity for what I've done, for taking the apple, but really genuinely feeling this, like, oh my God, I must say sorry to humanity. They have to know how sorry I am. And just like when you talk Isis and Osiris, I just get that whole similar vibe, that it's like souls that have played that role. And again, that we're all connected to.
Yeah, it's like tapping into energies of that, isn't it? When, you know, because people talk about, you know, I'm clearing for the collective or I'm purging for the collective. And I think we all do that to varying degrees. But of course, in that clearing process, we're also going to be tapping into the archetypes and the history and recoding history, like rewriting history, because that's what we're doing, isn't it? But I know exactly what you're talking about, Donovan, because I've had my own fair share of those experiences and know so many people who you kind of tap into that energy, and it's so real. It's so real, and it's so interesting because I was watching that video that Dale, that Nick was talking about, that Dale shared. It's getting confusing now. And I didn't realize until recently, because I've been to Egypt many times and been to the Isis temple many times, and had no level of awareness of what I do now. Like, I kind of kick myself, like, damn it, I wish I knew what I knew now. You know, back then I was just kind of like hanging out, had no idea. But someone recently asked me if I had been to the temple or the tomb of Osiris. And I literally didn't know. I had to look it up, and I Googled it. And upon Googling it, I was like, oh, I have been there. I have been there once. And I had to go back because I found it was my favorite ever photo of myself in Egypt. And it just makes me smile because here I am wearing a white hat and I'm kind of like doing this tipping motion as though I'm like, it's like behind my face, it's like I know something that I wouldn't have known consciously then. And you look at it. So yeah, it's interesting how we go on these little sort of grid working missions and pilgrimages to.
You know what's funny too? Chris G, I'll show you the one where he was COVID in the temple.
Yes.
He's the guy that said he's very connected to Egypt. He went there to do this cleansing right it was last year. And he's gone back over old video, and in the temple on the wall in the back it says COVID. I've got to send you the video.
Yeah.
He couldn't believe it. And he just found this like a few weeks back. It's clearly written on there.
Wow.
And you're like, what is this reality sometimes? It's like the synchronicities are just off the chart. I can't even acknowledge how many there are anymore. It's just insane.
Has it always been like that though? Like, I just think maybe it's because we're aware of the synchronicities now. Would that be right, Alisha? You'd know? Or have they always been happening, or is it just because things are really picking up pace?
I look at it from different thought processes. I think that yes, they're always there. It's just that we come into more and more consciousness of being aware of it. But I think there's also that process of the vibrational energy aligning and rising within us that speed things up as well. So like I always say that when you're in a lower frequency, you have less synchronicity. And then when you're like vibing high and you're buzzing, and you guys know what I'm talking about, you're going through that, you feel like you've had too many coffees and your body's like shaking because the energy's surging through you. It's like literally boom, 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 boom. It just doesn't stop. So, you know, that's a good way. Hey, that's a good way if that's not something that you're already aware of, that's a good way to read if you're on a higher or lower timeline, is the energy surging in the body, but it's the synchronicity and the speed and pace of them. That's my thoughts. But I know Donovan
look like a crackpot when you're walking down the street though, and you have one, don't you? Like, I get these synchronicities. I'm in public and I'm just smiling.
Yeah.
I look like an idiot. And
I couldn't wait to talk about synchronicity because every time we're about to get together, something happens to me.
I saw you writing notes. I'm like, ooh.
It happened again today. Can you guys see that? I just got the 333.
Yeah.
And I came in here to set up my laptop, and I had to move because I was getting the Bible codes from the St. Paul's. And I'm like, did what I do, open it, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Deuteronomy 33.3.
Oh, really?
And this happened within 30 seconds of each other, right? I'm like, oh, it's 333. Bang, had to move the Bible. Why did I leave the Bible there then, right? So all that. And I just wanted to show you too.
Oh, of course it is. Oh, and it's the 6 and the 9s.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, yeah, that's the one I keep getting, Donovan. That's been the most consistent.
And it equals 10.
10, yeah.
So again, everything's connected, but yeah, the law of synchronicity, I couldn't agree more with you, Alisha, is like you can't chase synchronicity. Synchronicity chases you. And it is all about what your energy is doing, what your vibration is doing. And when you're in flow, you know, it is infinite, the number of things that will just keep lining up for you. And it's ridiculous. But yeah, but it's beautiful. And it's a way to lead a guided life, you know. Yeah. You no longer feel like you have to be in control because it's all connected. You just know you're being put where you need to be in every moment. Whatever conversation you're meant to have, you'll have it. Whatever message is about to, you know, you're about to get, you'll get it. Whatever it is, you know. So it's like a sign of your own ascension and, you know, level of consciousness that you've reached. If synchronicity is happening to you, it's a real compliment. That's how I like to see it, you know.
Yeah, it's bringing more of your higher self into, isn't it? That's why I said I don't want to make any plans ever anymore. And it's good being a single person, and then you can just roll with these things. And David Icke used to talk about that years ago in his books too. I loved it, and he was like, he never makes plans. He'll make some sort of plans, and then you'll see the synchronicities happening, and you're like, well, that's it. And then if you're not supposed to happen, they're not supposed to happen. They won't happen. Yeah. I love them though. I just love them.
Yeah. I just laugh out loud sometimes and go, just laugh my head off at it like a madman. It's just, it's excellent. Yeah.
They're great in public though, aren't they?
Yeah.
When they happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Very satisfying.
Yeah.
It's just.
I loved when you pulled the volcano up before Donovan, because I was just. Can you tell me what the volcano represents, or in that deck anyway?
Volatility.
Well,
volatility.
Volatility.
All right.
You know, and V is 4 and 4, 44, right? So what I'm feeling from this card right now is that the week ahead, with everything that's happening, it's the explosion of the volcano. So it's been brewing, pressure's been building, and it's like, it's ready to go. And I've been feeling that there's been some lava movement from Alaska across to the United States in the last couple of months, because Alaska's had a series of volcanoes, and those in the know that study volcanoes and earthquakes and that kind of activity are saying that just on the inside of which coast is it? The California coast? West Coast. A little bit inland, there's going to be some major activations of lava movement in that area. So earthquakes are starting to show themselves. I just saw before we got on, Kansas apparently having a series of volcanoes. So I think, again, it's you know, whether you're looking at what's happening in politics, geopolitics or whatever, and then you look at what she is doing, Mother Earth, she always shows you like, okay, what's, you know, if, you know, what frequency is currently dominating, you know, and volcanoes to me is like the earth releasing stuff. She's cleansing. She's like getting it out, you know, the density is coming out. So I don't know. So what was your synchronicity with that?
No, that was just the dream that I had. I was in the volcano. Yeah,
right. Wow. Crazy.
I mean, and that could be literal or symbolic, because I know that people have talked about, you know, a lot of volcanic activity, and especially in Indonesia as being a potential place for that. It's so interesting how you can look at it from both levels, and something to ponder, you know, is that something that will play out in different timelines? As one timeline, it is a symbolic reference of an explosion of energy, and on the lower timeline, there's actual earth moving and shaking, and, you know, I don't know, that just came into my head then, so I thought I'd share it. But going back to we're talking about dreams. I think, Dale, you were mentioning about dreams. I've been having some really interesting dreams. Actually, two things. One, just to wrap up the Egypt theme, because Egypt theme has been really heightenedly aware, predominant for me especially, and I know for a lot of people, since the C word broke out in March. Yeah, okay. And I had a series of sessions I did with some clients, and there was just Egypt themes coming up over and over again about the fall of the civilization, things going wrong, you know, all these different things. And that has been an underlying current theme that's been an active energy, probably going back even further, maybe to 2018 when it first stepped into my awareness. And not to go into too much detail, but I had this vision. I was going through a big sort of heart expansion activation. I couldn't sleep. You know, those nights where you just can't sleep, the energy is just running through you. And I had this image of a person appear to me that was embodied in this snake energy. And it wasn't a nice snake energy. It wasn't like the Kundalini, but it wasn't. And it like, I was terrified. And I heard the voice say to me, "What are you going to do now?" And it was really one of those points of, are you going to choose fear or love? And so what I did in that moment was I sort of projected this energy from my heart to theirs and dispersed the negative energy. And anyway, so that happened a couple of years ago. Now, completely unexpected during this week of funky yuck energy, like Dale was talking about. I was about to go to sleep, and I was doing my usual process of clearing my space before I go to sleep, and this serpent energy appeared again, and it was the same. And I was like, I feel this has a connection to Egypt and clearing timelines and stuff like that. And this time my reaction was, I was like, oh, you're there, okay. There was no ounce of fear. It was just like, oh, okay. All right, so is this the final phase? What are we gonna do? Okay, we'll just clear. And it was the same thing. It was dissipated this energy. It's an energy form. It shows itself in different ways. But it was, let's say it was black energy, and it dispersed into like a sparkly gold energy of light. So I feel like it's wrapping up, obviously, because we've entered out of September and out of the 9 energy. I think there's big wrap up of cycles within cycles within cycles. So that, I just wanted to share that, but also this theme in the dreams of teaching people. Now, I'm not sure if someone mentioned that, but I've been having these dreams about making mini series videos of helping navigate people through the shift. I think were you, who was saying that? Was it you, Dale, that you were trying to help guide people?
Yeah, in a dream. Well, I think you spoke, didn't you talk about a dream of like filming or something? Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I woke up in the middle of it and I was making this mini series, and all I remember was saying, how basically a formula, how do you cope when you finally realize that you've been part of a hybridization program? And then I sort of woke up. I was like, what? And then sort of went back to sleep. But I guess my point in bringing that up is I think it's really important to no matter how wild, wacky, weird, crazy, there's so much stuff that's going to come to light. And I think people like us who are in the know, holding compassionate, loving space and helping people understand, you know, or giving them tools. So I'll throw it back to you guys.
Can we pre-book that program? Early bird discount.
Sure. Just like, I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about that. Maybe I am. I don't know. To me, it was like, oh, okay. But, you know, maybe that is a big part of the unraveling of people, having those memories restored through an expanded consciousness. I think there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I'll go on record. I've said this before, and maybe I get a bit excited when I say these things, but people who are contactees and have had contact like I have, and, you know, a lot of people have, I always say it's not something special. It's actually quite hard to deal with in the beginning. Your human really takes it quite hard to process it and come to terms with it. And I always say that, you know, I think that it's not a rarity is what I'm trying to get at. It's not a rarity. I think it's just that some people come into that realization of that contact and connection that they have more than others. I think more the veil lifts, the more people will realize the connections and interactions they're having with, you know, other beings, where have they come from, you know. I think that may be a big part about the shift. And sort of tying it back into what you started off sharing, Nick, is I think that loved ones, I think I mentioned the video with Kathy, I think people who have crossed over who are loved ones have a big role to play in that too, because you're gonna, if you're not if that's not a common experience for you and you're a little bit afraid, what are you gonna, you know, relate better to, you know, a loved one that you know coming to connect somehow, or you know, a being from a different planet? I mean, it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's why, like, I feel like in a lot of my experiences, I've slowly been getting prepared for the next one. And actually, it's funny you say that, because I got this this overwhelming feeling yesterday. I was driving the car, and I got this overwhelming feeling. Obviously, this contact was through a third party. That it's time for me to prepare my vessel for a more direct form of contact. So like yeah, instantly it came to mind, making sure I'm plenty of water, eating well, just doing anything I can to prepare for that. And I think if something like that comes direct to you, maybe you're not as prepared as it coming through the third party. Because, for example, coming through her, I've like I'm friends with her, but I purposely keep her at a distance, because I don't want to taint that information with doubt from me going, oh yeah, well, I told you about this then, so you could connect, because that's the first thing I will do.
Of course.
Yeah. So now that that's happened and I can't deny it, it's then I can move to the next step and embrace it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And you've got me in there. I was like, maybe I could do a course or a program or a workshop. Maybe there's something in this. All right, I'm going to take some notes here.
Dreams aren't accidents, right? Dreams aren't like something I learned recently. I was reading the Toltec Secrets, which is the and it was about dreams, and it's the Mexican tradition around dreams. And before that, I just thought dreams were a chance thing, and if I remembered them, great, and whatever happens. It's all just a bleh. But I've now realized that it's not. And as I consciously observe my dreams, you find different things in there. And I used to think I didn't dream, but having a diary next to my bed, recording things, and immediately I'm waking up going, did I dream? And trying to recall, you realize, wow, you have a lot of dreams. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And it's that practice, isn't it? And that discipline to make the time in the morning before you pick up your phone or do anything else to consciously recall, because it's all there. Yeah. Were you saying something, Dale?
Oh no! It just made me think. That's exactly right, Nick. Too. I've gone through periods where I'll note my dream, and then I stop doing it. And it's like I've stopped dreaming.
Yeah. Same.
If you don't remember it in that moment, but I've started audio recording them now too. And interestingly, I woke up the other day and I'm just going, April 19, April 19, April 19. I don't know what that.
April 19.
And then
there's a number there.
Yeah.
I looked straight at Donovan.
And then I had another one before the last full moon, which is a harvest moon, right? This is this cleansing thing. And I just woke up in the morning, and it's not a dream, but I just wake up with a voice in my head. And it just said 3 full moons, 3 full moons, 3 full moons. So I don't know. And then I was talking about the moon, and that's why you pulled up the moon card the other day, Donovan. That's why I was going.
You're here. Look.
Hey, that's what I was losing it. I was losing it when you pulled up that card. And I can't explain, Donovan, either. There's something when you pulled that card up, hit me really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'm thinking about. Can you explain that for me, mate?
No, I can't. Because the thing being, like, when I'm in that in that state, sometimes I know it's not for me. It's got nothing to do with me. It's for whoever needs to hear it. You know what I mean?
That hit me hard when you pulled that.
Yeah, but I certainly connected with each card that came out. But the thing I'm getting so much strongly at the moment too is that dreams, you're saying, Nick, you were saying dreams are not accidents. It's this level of understanding too that, like dream recall, I was talking about it yesterday. Sometimes you won't get the recall straight away, and then synchronicity to activate the memory. And it's like, I had that dolphin dream I spoke about, had the dolphin dream, and then it wasn't till someone randomly just mentioned dolphins, I went, shit, I remember that dream. That was my dream. So, it's all connected, whether it's synchronicity, dreams, higher consciousness, meditations, whatever. It's this swirling, infinite, creative source of energy that gets its message to you one way or another. I love that. So cool. So cool. And like you're saying, Dale, I'll pull a card. It'll be about dreams or full moon or whatever, and then it'll activate whatever you need. But yeah, we'll be watching this next full moon. It's going to be interesting.
I was about to say, I mean, it's a blue moon. It's on Halloween. We'll be in Scorpio season.
You talk about the cycles coming through too, and cycles within cycles, because there's also we're in Mercury retrograde period, right, too, before the election. So that's like that nostalgia sort of energy as well, isn't it? It brings back the past. And then I always look at politics, you look at the Clinton emails, that got dropped, I think it was like a year ago yesterday, right? The WikiLeaks stuff. And that was for me as a conspiracy guy that been tracking Clinton that was unreal 4 years ago. I was just like, oh my God, it's all coming out, blah, blah. And then, and no one wanted to listen then too, but it's done this Mercury retrograde in this period now before the election. That's coming back up again. All the pasts are coming back now too. So you got that energy in there as well.
Real culmination point, isn't it? And I find it interesting, like Mars is still in retrograde, and I think will be until past the election and up until the 16th. And I find that so fascinating that, that the election's being held and this build-up period that's in a Mars retrograde. And, I think Mars only goes into retrograde, every 2.5 years or 18 months. I'm not sure. It's not as regular as, let's say, a Mercury retrograde that happens, 2 or 3 times a year. Because for me anyway, I've observed with Mars retrograde, it always brings up sort of the volcanic volatility energies, doesn't it? Brings it to the surface. Whatever was brewing, below the surface, it sort of brings it up. And so
can't you see that playing out geopolitically?
Yeah, I was going to say there is the sense that we literally are in a world war. We're in World War III, and World War III just looks very different to how we imagined it when our consciousness couldn't grasp the idea of a different type of a war,
So
Mars,
true.
Yeah, Mars being the god of war and all that fire, and it's like, I don't know, lost my train of thought. But... Oh, that's right. I was going to say, you were talking about cycles of time. So the 9 and the 1, Isis, 9191. 9 is the ending and completion of cycles. 1 is the new beginning of a new cycle, And
so it's like massive wrap up of stuff. You know what? Literally let's talk about synchronicity. On my way home, getting ready to set up and record, the only number plate that I bothered to look at on my entire drive was 999. And I don't see that one as common as 888s or 222s. So
yeah. And the other thing that just occurred to me with the 10-10-20-20, right? So it's like you were talking about, Dale, geopolitically and this kind of retrograde feeling. It's one step back, two steps forward, one step back, two steps forward. And as we follow the geopolitics and all the disclosure stuff, it's kind of like we think we're getting there, and then we got to wait. And we think we're getting there, we got to wait. And it's like, come on, I thought we were there, And it's like, I feel that this 10-10 portal's going, all right, yeah, we're moving forward to the two steps forward in the next while. It's there's no holding back. There's no more redaction, right? The cosmos is not going to redact what's coming.
I couldn't sleep the other night when they put out that tweet, and I'm like, this is insane. And I'm like, no, they're just messing with us. They're not going to do it. I'm like, Dale, like, stop using your head. It's coming, man. Like, this is not normal what's playing out at the moment.
Yeah, and I just love that Hillary's emails is 33,000.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, of any number they could, it could have been, it's just like 33, it's like.
Well, it may as well have been, 33,300, why stop?
I'm like that with the Bill Heffernan speech as I am with like the Sydney Powell. There was General Flynn's lawyer. You listen to her talk, they've seen all this stuff. They've got all the dirt on these people, and they know how disgusting and evil they are. She just openly talks about it. No one really talks about her that much. But it's all there.
I can't wait. Well, I want to be in every single one of those rooms where they're having to do having to answer the questions and, but anyway, but that's just, because
but what will be, it's fine. And we sort of like, we're going to pull ourselves away from it a bit too, don't we? And
it's
just live our lives.
Yeah, as I'm flowing, the universe has actually pulled me into not having enough, as much time to just follow everything. And it's almost like it's going, you don't need to anymore, Donovan. It's fine. Like, you've done what you need to do. You just keep working from that high vibration perspective, and you will be, you'll be fine.
I kind of agree with that in a way. So many things I could say about that, but it's so interesting because I think Nick touched on it earlier about how, the way that, Dale's built and his ability to do what he does, and that, that you couldn't do that. And, it's very specific. And I think what I've noticed is not only that being in the different frequencies of timelines, but I've been very aware of when I've been in my masculine energy and when I've been in my feminine energy. And a lot of I was saying earlier today, I was like, I'm really exercising my masculine energy at the moment because I'm really focused and, detail oriented, and I've got to get a lot of stuff done. And I don't have time to be in that lovely flow state. I mean, everything's flowing, don't get me wrong. But I found that I've been very, very objective and very detached emotionally, which is kind of a bit concerning because I'm a Pisces, and, we're known for the flow of emotion. And I was like, but it's okay. There's a time and place for that. And I think it's, it's about when we integrate those aspects within us, we can pick and choose, just like we pick and choose what to engage in and what not to. We pick and choose which kind of energy we need to have more present when doing particular things, but also I agree with you, Donovan, because I've had a lot of feelings that, there's been a lot of hard work that has been completed. Now just sit back and enjoy the ride and just watch the unfolding. And I think this year's been really a lot of dipping in and out, especially for me. I think for a long time I didn't dip into the lower gunkier stuff because I didn't feel the call to, but this year I was like, right, getting my boots on, getting in there, getting into the mud, and getting into the swamp and tearing it apart. But now it just kind of feels like it's kind of gone back up, and being quite selective of what to watch and tune into.
I've done the same. Sorry, Ocean, go.
No, I was just saying that my hand moved to the deck and I got ebb and flow.
Yeah, perfect.
So wow, awesome. Yes, go Nick.
If you look at my Facebook feed, and even the Instagram I use, I've just stopped with all the. a couple of weeks ago, I started to feel like I'd plant, because I only used Facebook for that sort of stuff, to plant seeds in family that I might know. And Anna actually contacted me about a post I put on, and she said to me, I'm just going to let you know as a friend, there's something off about that. I feel like I looked at it and I didn't feel that it was right. I can't remember what it was. And when I looked at it, I actually felt that. And it was funny because literally that day I'd been thinking, all right, I think it's time to get out of this. And then obviously with the chain of events this week, that was the final thing, because I've now gotten to know myself better and my strength and what I need to do at this time. And it's definitely not what Dale needs to do at this time. You know what I mean? Like, so I can step back and I know people are taking care of it. It's all coming out anyway, and it's all going to happen. And I can just work in the way that I need to work at the moment.
Yeah, we engage in our different roles as we need to.
Yeah.
And if we're paying attention to our own inner, guidance, then we know when to step in, when to pull back, when to move into doing either seed planting or extraction or beaming, rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah. But it's
There's a time and place for it all.
Well, that's why we, at the stage I'm at, that's why it's so helpful to have people like you guys and Anna and Jen and a couple of other people that can say, oh, do you think that, and you can level off again, because this is, everyone's still a work in progress, but some of us more than others, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and so grateful for Soul Fam, and shout out to those girls, and looking forward to doing the bigger grounder roundtable, rigging everyone on. So that's not far away. But guys, I think it's that time just to wrap it up for now. And I just want to thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, your information, your sharing, and just your presence and your energy. It's just it's a beautiful fusion, and I look forward to, more and more as we grow and expand and evolve through this process together. Thank you everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. That's my final words, but I'll hand it over to you guys. Final. I hate to wrap it up like that, but I'm going to hand it. I'm not going to ask anything. Just hand it over.
I've got one. I was thinking of this today. I listened to a great talk, and he's talking about the virus, right? And so we've been in this virus for a long time, and it's he wanted to explain. He said he had a personal trainer, Nick, and he asked him what illness is, and he said it's the lack of beauty in your life. So, like I said before, it's just like it's the opposite, isn't it? Just do the opposite. Yeah, I love that. When I heard that, that's absolute ripper. But like, who knows where we'll be in a few weeks? We'll see. It's just, yeah.
Exciting.
I'll go next, Donovan. I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the people that I see in the comment sections after these talks, talking about how they've got no one to talk to or confide in, and how glad they are that we are having these chats, but to also say that they're as much a part of it as anyone else, because there's this energy exchange going on. And I mean, if you don't feel, within your family or the friends you're around and things like that, there's people out there waiting to hear from you. Jump online. You could start a Zoom call and never record it. Get people on there, just start talking about it, and just connect with, like I've obviously started to find, I found my tribe, and it wasn't that long ago I didn't have that luxury. And they're out there and they're waiting for you to drop them a message and say, hey, let's just have a chat online. We've got the technology, let's do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Nick. I always feel that I've always had that sense that during the awakening of humanity, I just always knew that it was really important that we all just share our experiences as we're having them, because that's co-creation in expansion. You know what I mean? It's like someone shares what their experience is, and there's somebody there that needs to hear that, because that's another aspect of you, another fractal, right? So, and I love what you're saying about, whatever term you want to give your soul tribe, whether you want to call them light workers, people on the spiritual path, whatever, it really doesn't matter that much. But we're talking about, there's this talk about the white hats are in control. Now, the white hats might be considered, and Dale would have heard this a lot, the ones working in behind the scenes to bring down the cabal and all that, right? But to me, the white hats is all of us as well. We're part of a team that we're just as important as the people that are in those positions doing that stuff, while we're uniquely each of us playing our role in it. So my closing message is just freaking be you, love being you, and keep going. You can't fuck it up. You can't get it wrong. And we need you, and we need each other. So yeah, stay in contact, and yeah, we appreciate, and I appreciate you guys, and I'm so happy. There's all this natural flow always in this room, and then that ripples out, and all the comments from all your peeps. It's just beautiful. So it's so magical to be part of it. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm feeling the love right now. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And until next time, I'll send all that love your way. Bye.
Hey, guys.